Hello and welcome to Aging Matters. This is a program that is provided by and sponsored by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging. My name is Ann Barlet and I'm the host this evening. I'm the Public Advocacy and Outreach Manager for the agency. Our show this evening is most appropriate at this winter time of the year. It's Winter Weather Safety Driving Show. And I have two guests with me this evening. I'd like to introduce Cheryl Gouker first. First here to my left, and she is the Public Affairs and Marketing Individual for AAA Reading-Berks. And next to Cheryl is Ed Gouker. Yes, they're related.
We travel in pairs.
And he is the automotive manager. So welcome and thank you so much. I appreciate your time here. We've got a lot to cover, lots of gadgets and gizmos to talk about. So let's start right in with, again, we are in winter and we have to deal with it. Unfortunately, we are in the area where we've got all kinds of winter weather. So let's talk first, I guess, about, the rules should be, if we don't need to go out, don't go out.
Absolutely, that's the best.
So the first one, and we could end the show there, but we won't. We're going to talk about those days that we actually do need to go out, and how can we first start with preparing, first of all, our vehicles.
Right.
And so give us some thoughts about that. I don't know if it's Ed, you want to start?
Sure.
All righty.
I would say we should always have our vehicles maintained. Do the routine maintenance and service that we should have done periodically. Wintertime, as we get those cold days, of course things shrink as they get colder. So you drop 10 degrees and next thing you know, the tire pressure monitoring system light on the car's dash is on, telling you that you have a low tire. Some people call us for road service saying the light's on, I must have a flat tire. Not always. We get out there and find that there's a tire low. So tire pressure is very important. The old myth is if you lower your tire pressure, you'll get more traction in ice and snow. That's not true. Maintain the proper air pressure in the tires at all times.
Just check it, maintain the proper,
That's
got
right.
it, all righty. So I can't just get in my car and go. I have to do work now.
Even the selection of the type of tire for winter driving. If you don't do a lot of driving in bad weather, you might just opt for a mud and snow, a multi-season tire. But if you drive in a lot of snow, perhaps you'd want to opt for a snow tire or maybe a studded tire. Make sure you have chains.
And so would you best advise us on that type of thing? Because I didn't really think, you kind of know when they talk about the steering systems and the brake systems, but they don't really, when you buy a car, they never really address that, at least for me, in terms of having to think about maybe changing a type of tire. And we live, if you're around this area, what do you think we would contact, you guys to help advise us? Is that right?
Sure.
Okay.
Or a quality tire distributor. They can help you make the choice. Like Cheryl said, we have people doing different types of driving. So if you're doing a lot of highway driving in good weather, then you're going to pick a tire that's going to last longer. It's going to be a harder rubber compound, therefore it's going to give you more miles of service. If you get into the snow tire that you're going to run in the wintertime, they're a softer rubber compound and they give you great traction in ice and snow, but there's not much long life in those. If you get 25 or 30,000 miles out of a set of those, that's about it.
Oh, okay. All righty. Good to know. So in looking at, you talked about tire pressure and the myth, how about what's, I always say I realize mid-driving that all of a sudden my one color car is really white because of all of the stuff poured on it, whether it's been the ice, the stuff that laid down. So what do I have to do?
Well,
tell me what I have to do to maintain or do some other things in the bad weather like that.
All of those things that PennDOT and the other municipalities are putting on the road it does a great job of getting rid of the ice and snow, but when it makes contact with the metal parts of our car, it does damage. That salt and calcium chloride and other chemicals that they're putting on the roadway. When that clings to the underside of our vehicle, it starts rotting it away. If there's a chip in the paint and it gets under the paint into the metal, it starts rotting it away, and that's where rust comes from. So after an ice or snow event, or any time they put those chemicals on the road, I would recommend going to the car wash and running it through, because we get that spray up from underneath that gets rid of all that all those chemicals that are clinging to the underside of the vehicle.
And even in prior to the weather, winter weather, you might want to take your car and get it washed and waxed. Get a nice coat of wax on it. When we talk about the condition of the outside of your car, we always want to make mention that you want to make sure that your windows are always clean, and your lights, headlights and brake lights, are always clean. You know, we talk about the mud and the slush that can be sprayed onto our cars. And when you think about the snow, you know, we have a law in Pennsylvania where you need to remove all the snow off of your vehicle if you are responsible if something comes off your car and makes somebody
have an accident or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've been a few, you know, I'm really very careful about that, and I try to, in fact, when I bought a new car, I was making sure that my arm would reach to get all the snow. But yeah, you can get behind a vehicle who doesn't think that way, or take the time to do that, and the snow can fly right back at you, or ice, or hard, you know, snow and ice coming back, and then you're automatically reflexing and maybe blinking and causing some kind of accident. Now, you mentioned about the law with regards to keeping that clean, keeping the windows and the
It's not an 18-inch
little thing I can see out.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah.
I think people forget the back of the car too. You know, we clean the sides and the front maybe, but we forget the back. Also, could you clarify for us lights? You know, when do I turn on my headlights? Is it just because it's night or dark, you know, dusky, or, you know, we all talk about rain. What about?
Well, the principle is if your windshield wipers are on, your lights need to be on, because that is indicating there is a low level of visibility. And we've sometimes think, well, I can see the car in front of me. You know, I can see the road. It's not so much that we have our lights on so we can see, but others can see us. There was a study done in Canada where it was discovered that if you have your lights on, others can see you by twice the distance than if you don't have your lights on. So that's certainly something we want to do as self-preservation as a good driver, is to have our lights on. Certainly dusk, dawn, fog, things like that. Anything.
Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that. What about, we talked a little earlier about some driving techniques. Tell me what you mean by that?
Well, first of all, when you start out, no jackrabbit starts, no hard acceleration. You know, you want to take it kind of easy.
And we're pulling out.
As we pull out. We also need to be cognizant that our stopping distance increases when there is less traction on the roadway. So we're going to increase our following distance from ourselves and the vehicle that we might be following, the vehicle that's in front of us.
So add more distance between us and the car in front of us, because the stopping.
Especially maybe large trucks that might have sheets of ice that might come off, so we have to be ready to handle that.
And it does give us, I mean, we hear the warnings from the news and whatnot about the type of morning or day that it's going to be, and that it might have been refreezing rain or something that looks wet, you think it might be rain, and in some cases it is just puddles of water, but in other cases, in other areas, it isn't. It is that, and it's slip, and you're not expecting that, and all of a sudden when you go to brake suddenly, then you're kind of realizing this isn't just wet.
And we talk when we talk about braking, you might want to address this. The ABS system. There is a different way to handle your braking maneuver, whether you have ABS system or not in the vehicle.
So
ABS, anti-lock brake
let's
system.
just tell me what that means. And also, you know, we should know that when we have our car, that is something we want to make sure we know, because of the differences you're going to talk about. So ABS is again
anti-lock brake system.
Anti-lock brake
and
system.
The salesman probably won't tell you much about it. He'll tell you that your vehicle has it, and he'll tell you that one over there doesn't, but the one you're buying does. But I'm not sure they know a whole lot about
Okay.
it, but they will tell you that it has it. It can be a good thing. Anti-lock brake system, so if we are on a roadway with low traction, we have snow or ice, and we apply the brakes too hard, instead of the wheels locking up and sliding, the anti-lock brake system takes over, and it releases and applies the brake many times a second to keep that wheel rolling so that we can continue to steer and do other maneuvers that we need to do. So people will feel the brake pedal kick back underneath their foot and hear clicking noises and other things that are happening with the ABS system activated that they've never heard before. And their reaction is to take their foot off the brake pedal. That's the wrong thing to do.
Right.
You want to keep your foot on the brake pedal.
Okay.
The system's doing its job. And again, it's allowing those wheels to keep turning so that we can steer.
And pay attention to where we're steering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
we can steer while braking, because if we don't have ABS and we lock up the wheels, we can turn the steering wheel all we want. We're going to keep going in the direction we were going when we started to slide.
Okay. And again, I just say if you don't have to go out.
That's
Don't go out.
That's always the best. That's the best advice, yeah.
So we talked about and again, keeping that stopping distance and starting distance and distances for those kinds of things. What are some other things that we talked about some of the preparation with the vehicle and the post after some of the sludge and whatever, it's on the roads, wash, keep it regular, safety checked. I'm driving, I'm going to clean off my vehicle. Are there other things that I should we talked about the brake system, other things that I should be conscious of while I'm driving
Okay. Well,
or doing?
Sure. Why don't we talk about being prepared and having things in our car for an emergency? Within the last couple of years, we've had some incidents in our area where there were people that had to be in their car for hours because of a crash.
Yes.
So it's best to be prepared, beforehand. So we talk about different things you can have in an emergency kit. Some of the things that we might recommend is maybe a pair of gloves. These happen to have a nice grippy surface. So you might want to have a pair of gloves if you have to perhaps jump start your car or clear some snow away. Maybe you're stuck in a snowbank where you never want the snow to overcome your exhaust pipe, because that'll introduce carbon monoxide, not a good thing in your car. So that's just kind of keep your hands, and just to have your hands warm, perhaps.
Yeah, another layer even.
Great. We have the jumper cables. That's a good thing to have in your car if you need to be in a position where you need to either jump start your own car, or somebody else's car, have them jump start you.
Now with this too, again, we talked a little earlier about when you buy new cars and things. I think sometimes I assume, I don't know how many people do, I must be the only one that assumes that they're in the car.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily, right? So
No, that's something that you would have to buy yourself, like any other tool that's here, ice scrapers, whatever it might be.
and I can get this anywhere.
You can, and there are better jumper cables.
Okay.
Obviously, the heavier the wire, the more current it's going to move.
I see that, and I see that
takes
here.
quite a bit of current to turn that starter and have that starter turn that engine. So
Okay.
you're looking at 125 up to 200 amps of 12-volt current coming through that wire. So if it's too inexpensive, it's probably not going to get the job
that.
done for
Okay.
you.
Right.
So you want to buy a good quality
Okay.
set of jumper cables.
And will I be looking for something in particular at all when I'm going to buy these?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
other than a nice heavy
nice
set.
heavy
I see
base.
this, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
alrighty. And so I should put that on my list.
We also suggest you have a battery and a flashlight, okay? A lot of times people have the flashlight in their car, they keep it in there for years and years and years, and then the one time they need it, it won't work because the batteries are corroded, things like that.
Yes.
So that's something you always want to check on every once in a while. Are your batteries fresh for your flashlight?
We could probably do something like that when we, with our group and the folks, the other programs we've said about safety in the home, where we've talked about changing your smoke detector batteries and things like that. Well, we can add that to the list by checking our car flashlight and the battery maybe twice a year, something like that.
It's a great idea to connect it so that you remember. I think that's a great idea. Something else that we want to keep fresh is perhaps an emergency kit with your Band-Aids, your antiseptic ointment, things like that, a little first aid kit. By just putting that into your glove box or into your trunk and then forgetting about it, these things could be affected over time. So we want to make sure that those things are always fresh.
Okay.
You talked about an ice scraper. These are nice and handy. Perhaps a snow brush. Depending on your vehicle, if you have an SUV, you might want to have one of these with an extending handle, which is really nice. They telescope.
Obviously, we need that so we can get the top of our car.
Absolutely, absolutely. You might have a little poncho, a little rain poncho, perhaps a rag or two.
This was a rain poncho?
This is a little rain poncho, yeah.
Okay,
it actually unfolds.
Tell me about that. Like, why? I guess I don't think about it. I guess I just never think about
that.
Well,
if you have to change your tire and it's raining out, and you're dressed to go to a business meeting or something, and you don't want to get all wet, maybe you just want to put a little rain poncho on, or I never want to be wet, so I don't care if I'm in jeans and, I'm going to wear a poncho when I'm out messing around under my car.
Right. It probably would help too if you have to do a little bit of walking, like if you're somewhere stuck and you have to go
out of gas
way,
maybe, and you have to walk back to the last exit.
And that particular one is visible also, right?
That's right. Oh, yes. It's a nice bright color, that you are going to be visible to. Sometimes your flat tire is on the highway side of your vehicle.
Yes.
So we always want to make sure we can pull off as far as we can off the highway. But if you have something nice and bright that oncoming drivers can see you, that's
good idea.
Always
like
best to be visible. Maybe you want to have a little snack in your car, perhaps a little energy bar. I have a little bag of nuts here and some water if you're going to be in your car for an extended period of time. Perhaps a couple of tools. I have here a screwdriver. Perhaps you might need that.
For what? Okay, tell me I'm going to use that one.
Minor repairs to get you back on the road.
Minor repairs, that's what that means. And if you have a AAA membership, make sure you know where your AAA membership card is. One thing I'd like to mention is that if you do need to call us, and we are so happy to come out and help you, there are a few things that you might want to remind yourself of before you even start dialing the phone. First of all, know what kind of vehicle you're driving. Sometimes people get a little panicky.
Sure.
And, we ask, what kind of car are you driving? Well, let me see. I'm not really sure. So we like to know what we're going to ask you for the year and the make and the model and the color of your car.
Okay.
Where are you? Sometimes that baffles some people. Well, I am somewhere on 222. I've been this way for about a half hour now. So we like you. Just kind of get your ducks in a row before you call us, and then we can certainly help you as fast as we can. Anything else am I missing as far as calling in for road service?
Just have that membership card, and we also like to see your photo ID. So when the driver gets out there, he may ask for your membership card and photo ID. We like to make sure that we're actually servicing our members. It is a membership organization, and we're happy to service our members, but some people like to share those cards and do the friends and family thing, and we try to discourage that.
The other thing I want to mention is the triangle. We used to have road flares. And people were a little uncomfortable about having flares or even lighting them. So there are so many different designs of the warning triangles. We have the LEDs that are lovely. They're very bright. This just happens to have a reflective surface. But we like to mention where you want to put it. Not only do you want to have it, but how do you use it?
Yeah, exactly.
So we would like it to have at least 100 feet behind your vehicle towards the oncoming traffic. 10 feet behind your vehicle does not give people enough warning. The idea is to give people the cue that they want to look for something odd up ahead of them. So at least 100 feet behind your car. If you have more than one, maybe 100 feet and then 200 feet. Okay, just giving an advance warning to the oncoming traffic.
Okay, very good. And you can get, where can I get those?
Oh my, any place, any auto parts store, AAA members get a discount at Napa stores.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most department stores, your Kmart, your Target.
So it really can be any
department.
kind,
Oh,
as
absolutely.
opposed to, when we talked about this, you wanted to look for a certain type of thickness of, but that can be,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All righty. And you have something
Well,
in the center there?
Yes, we're talking about, not only we're talking about preparing your car, but we're talking about preparing ourselves as a driver.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to make sure that, first of all, we know where the instrumentation is on our vehicle. Especially if you're borrowing somebody's car or you're in a rental car, when it starts to rain, that's not the time to be, oh my goodness, I wonder where my wipers are, But even in bad weather, when we're talking about that, we want to make sure that we're not fatigued when we get behind the wheel. That's a danger thing. And when you add a problem such as snow, reduced visibility, reduced traction, you really need to be on top of your game. So we want to make sure that we not only are in good shape, physical shape, and rested, but how do we actually operate the vehicle? And one of my favorite things is when we teach our senior driver safety class, we talk about how to control our vehicle best. And when we're doing an emergency maneuver or we're doing special driving techniques in bad weather, how you control the vehicle through your arms and your hands and your shoulders and the steering wheel, your steering input is very important. So, Ann, do you remember where we want to have our hands on the steering wheel? Is if the wheel was the face of a clock, do you remember where we want to have our hands?
Well, I believe I remember. In the past, we were taught, which is not correct anymore, but we were taught 10 and 2.
That's correct, yes.
But that's not really where we're supposed to have them.
No, it's not. One of the reasons is the airbag.
Okay.
Is in the coming out of the steering wheel. So you do not want to have your hands up here. If that airbag should deploy, you're going to have a little bit of an injury issue.
Okay.
So, but as far as when we talk about control of the vehicle, you always want to have your elbows at your sides if you can. You're not overextending your arm, you're not fatiguing your arms, but we're going to keep our hands at 9 and 3 or 8 and 4 is best, so that you always have your elbows at your sides and you can sit upright. The way we turn the steering wheel makes a difference. Did you know that? So most people have this fixed arm, and so they're going this way and this way, but actually, if you can just push, pull, and slide your hands, it's okay if your hands meet at the top or the bottom, but you're going to be able to make a nice, crisp, controlled steering maneuver with your vehicle so that you don't put yourself into a skid.
All righty, good. Any other gadgets or anything that you wanted to talk about? Did we cover everything?
I think we covered everything.
Okay.
I do have a couple of free brochures for folks. I have How to Go on Ice and Snow.
That's terrific.
It's a nice little brochure, and it gives them a preparation checklist. Also, Get a Grip. We seem to be having wet weather more than snowy weather right now.
Yeah.
But, wet roads have their own issues.
Yes.
And I also have a nice article that says what to do when your vehicle breaks down.
Oh,
so that's a nice little thing to kind of go over.
And will that also have then some of these
It
items
does have
also
some
have
a
preparation?
problem prevention checklist.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and those are all available at the AAA office.
One of the things, so we can get that through the AAA office. Alrighty, very good. And I was thinking of when you were talking about some of the steering and whatever, and you mentioned about we should be prepared. I think some of the problem I also continue to see no matter what weather, but even more so dangerous in winter driving types of weather we're having is when we're prepared to drive, part of that is to have our mindset ready to drive, but also that we've left in enough time. Everybody seems to be late all the time. They seem to be behind. So they've left later than they want, which means that then their driving reflects that, whether it's too close to the other driver or
too fast for driving conditions.
Okay, good. In a couple of minutes that we have left, I know that you wanted to talk about how, again, you mentioned brochures that we could get at AAA, but I think you wanted to also give us some other resources that we
definitely the website. I would say go to AAA.com or go to newsroom.aaa.com. There's a lot of information on there about safety, driving. There's information about our senior driver safety class. It gives insurance discount. Lots of information there for folks to take advantage of.
Good, good. And any last comments from either of you, that's something that you think is important that we might have missed, or we want to just make sure we reiterate again?
Well, one thing I thought of was with cold weather. Cold weather makes batteries fail. So our vehicle batteries in this particular region of the country last about 4 or 5 years, and we can help you with that. If you have a battery issue, we can come out and test that battery, let you know if it needs to be replaced, and if so, we can replace it on the spot.
Good, thank you. And Cheryl, anything?
No, I just have to repeat, when the weather is bad, if you don't have to be out, stay home where it's nice and warm and dry.
Yes, exactly. All righty. Well, thank you so much. I hope we've all learned a lot of things to think about and perhaps get for our vehicles, and be mindful of ourselves and the way we're operating and preparing ourselves to operate the vehicle. So thank you for your time and your information. I thank you for tuning in to Aging Matters.